Yeah.
Okay. We are live at DragonCon 2013 at the MOG-Nation booth. I am sitting down with John Goodwin of Galaxy Press. What are you doing here, John? Tell us about what you're doing.
Well, we're an exhibitor at the show. We've been coming for many years. I came in 2002. I brought Chick Corea, and we did a show here. A couple years before that, I brought Roger Christian, who's just been directing some movies, and so we like it. We won a Dragon Award a few years ago for one of our books called Battlefield Earth. But specifically, what I'm here and talking to you today is about the contest called Writers of the Future. It's a contest that was started in 1983 by L. Ron Hubbard, who was a very popular writer in the 30s and 40s, writing all kinds of genres, over 200 different fiction books. But this one here is Rise of the Future contest. He started in 1983, and we just released volume 29, and volume 30 will be coming out next April. And so I've been on some panels this morning and introducing a lot of people to a resource they've got if they're aspiring writers to get their work seen and acknowledged and hopefully win the contest.
So the book actually consists of entries, right?
Right. What it is these are the winners, the top 12. It's a quarterly it's a yearly contest, but it's broken up into the 4 quarters. There's 3 winners every quarter.
Okay.
And the winners are selected from our top panel of judges. I'm just going to read some from the back of it because several of them are here. Kevin Anderson, Orson Scott Card, Todd McCaffrey, who was here, who was a judge following his mom, who was one of the first judges for the contest. Larry Niven, who's the guest of honor, who's the writer guest of honor, is one of our judges. We've also got several people who entered the contest before, like Rob Sawyer, Sean Williams, Dave Wolverton. They were all entries, and they either disqualified themselves from selling or won the contest and made their launch. And very specifically, we got Mike Resnick, who's also one of our judges. I don't know if you're familiar with him and all.
Sounds familiar. Where have I heard that before?
He's won several Hugos. He's one of the winningest writers that exists.
Okay.
And
I should know who that is.
Yeah,
right?
and he's got a magazine that he sells, and so he buys a lot of stories from the winners of Writers of the Future contest.
Okay. So if you're not at DragonCon, how do you...
Well, what we have is there's a website called writersofthefuture.com.
Okay.
And there's also a Facebook page, likewise. And then there's we have the website gives you the ability to enter the contest because it's open to anybody who wants to. There's no restrictions other than they can't have been published professionally before.
Okay.
There's no entry fee. The entrants keep their rights to their stories. They're paid for winning the contest. They give a cash prize. Plus, when the book's published, they get a royalty. And there's one person out of the 12 is chosen as the grand prize winner, and they get a separate check for $5,000.
Now you got me interested.
And then also the thing, which even the winners, as much as they like the money, the thing that routinely comes up the most is there's a week-long workshop. So the winners are flown out. The contest pays for it. We fly them out. We put them at the hotel. And they have a week-long workshop with those people I just told you about.
Sure.
They're the ones that give the workshop on, because now they're taken as being professional, so now we're going to give you some real skills that really fully hone you as a writer.
Sure.
So you get a week-long workshop with these judges who teach them what they've learned over the 15, 20, 30 years as a professional themselves that really help them. Maybe you heard of a guy named Patrick Rothfuss?
Sure, yeah.
He went for several years pitching his story, The Name of the Wind. Nobody was interested in it. So someone said, enter the Rise of the Future contest. So he took one of the chapters, Road to Levenshire, and turned into a short story that he entered the contest with. He won. Kevin Anderson then took him under his wings, introduced him to his agent, who then helped him sell this book.
From there.
And he, in his introduction to the first book, he says, I owe everything. I owe it to Rise of the Future. Without Rise of the Future, I can guarantee I would not be where I am today.
So is that a typical entry, just like a chapter out of a book?
No, it has to be. It has to be a standalone. It has to be. We had to turn it into a short story.
As far as the length.
The length can be anything from just a few words up to 17,000 words. So it's science fiction, fantasy, alternate history, light horror, not heavy horror, and it's basically a person can enter once a quarter. And there's a lot of writing groups that encourage their members to enter the contest because it teaches you, one, how to make deadlines, which is really important to have.
I wish some of my favorite authors would do that.
Get their deadlines, yeah. And then after you start getting to a certain level, you start getting critiques from the judges. Okay, do this, do that, do the other thing. And it's free criticism, but like there's another author that you may have heard of, Robert J. Sawyer.
Sure. Yeah.
When I met him a few years ago, he's now a judge. I asked him if he was familiar with the Writers of the Future contest. He said, am I familiar with it? Let me tell you. So he told me the story. He used to enter the contest when he was first starting all the time.
Sure.
He got a 3-page critique from Aldous Budrus, who was the coordinating judge at the time. And so he did all the points of the critique, turned a short story into a novel, sold it, disqualified himself for the contest, but now is one of the best-selling science fiction writers around. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. So you'd mentioned before that you can't have any professional experience. Now, say a guy like me who writes for our website.
Right.
Would that be professional?
Okay, so here's the specific on that, so we can just get it. Okay, so here's point 5 on that. In the contest rules are in the back of any book as well as on site, but the contest is open only to those who have not professionally published a novel or short novel or more than 1 novelette or more than 3 short stories in any medium. Professional publication is deemed to be payment of at least 5 cents per word and at least 5,000 copies or 5,000 hits.
Oh, I think I'm good. I'm not getting paid at all. So.
Okay, good. There you go. Yeah. And so it's and we have some people say, well, I can't stand being rejected. It's like, well, that's part of what's going to happen as a writer. And even when
thick skin, right?
Yeah, and Kevin Anderson said he has a box he keeps. He said, I've got more rejections than probably anybody in his. He's got hundreds of rejections. But he's the probably one of the best-selling writers that exists right now of science fiction and fantasy, of what he does. So some of the winners have entered 19, 20 times before they've actually won the contest.
Okay.
So it's one of those things you just keep on, stay at it.
Okay. All right, so I think that about does it. Is there anything else you wanted to...
Just to let people know, one, if you're an aspiring writer, the purpose of the contest is to encourage writing. So it's something that if you want to do it and you think you've got what it takes, you need to write, you need to submit. There's no entry fee. You can submit either online or send a submission in hard copy. It's all in the back of the book. What a lot of the judges say and what they recommend is get a copy of the book, read it so you can see what your competition is. Because this is the first professional sale for these winners, many of which you're going to see in the future. And also, don't try to write what you think is going to sell. Write what you love. Write the best you can. It comes through it. Because one thing about Winners of Rise of the Future, steampunk you read in here, 5 to 10 years before it became a genre that people started getting. So these becoming the future mainstay writers, what they write now sets the trend for years to come.
Sure.
So do your own thing, because quite possibly as a winner, you'll be the one that's going to do it. And invariably when someone says, I won the Rise of the Future contest, or now when you say you're a finalist for Rise of the Future contest, you're automatically taking on the slush piles, and you're taken seriously as a writer. So the book is full book called L. Ron Hubbard Presents Writers of the Future. Volume 29 just came out. Volume 30 will be out next April.
Okay, and what was that website again?
www.writersofthefuture.com.
Okay, thanks a lot, John. Thanks for coming on.
Great, thank you very much.